Well, not even 1 week later, after Liberation Day, Donald Trump, on the 9th of March 2025, 9th of April 2025, has reversed all of his tariffs for 90 days. He's put a break on them for 90 days, and except for China. China will keep their tariffs right where they are, but every other country is getting a break on their tariffs. And this was I'm just going to say this. Donald Trump is not all there. His cabinet is not all there. These people are, I don't know how to describe them, but they're not quite, they're dumb. They're stupids, right? They're people that are venal and greedy, and they only educate themselves about things that they care about and ways to make themselves more powerful and have more money. Donald Trump saw the stock market crater, Tesla stock cratering still, and he said, no more tariffs, 90-day break. Because a couple of days, or yesterday or the day before, he said that these people all these countries are it's calling him off the hook trying to make trade deals. What the problem is I don't believe that they're really doing that. Because if they were, he would keep his foot on the throat, and then he would get whatever deals he thinks he can get. I think what happened was Donald Trump is a moron, and he listens to stupid people like Peter Navarro and others, and he thought that putting these tariffs on were going to automatically bring manufacturing jobs back into this country, and then investment would increase, and none of those things had happened. In fact, the opposite. Money started leaving the country. You looked at it with the bond yields, you looked at it with the stock market dropping, and the stock market yesterday, it rallied and then tanked again. And again, don't judge the economy on the stock market, but judge a moron like judge a fucking rich kid idiot, know nothing like Donald Trump. He looks at that and panics. And he got a phone call from his Lutnick and all of his fucking little sycophants saying, President Trump, maybe we just stop with some of these tariffs. Let's pause them. Let's try to get some deals going. Because it only hurt the American economy. It didn't hurt anybody else. I mean, really. Other countries, sure. But other countries had some downturns in their economic issues. But Korea, for instance, flooded the economy with money. Other countries were doing the same to offset the losses of selling products in America would have brought. And now Trump has no leverage. Trump had no leverage before because when you are the larger economy, you will always run a trade deficit with a smaller economy. There will never be a time where you are exporting as much stuff into their country as they are into yours because you have more money. Your market is bigger. That's economics 101. So you're always going to have a trade deficit. And I don't know that he understood that. I don't really know how much Donald Trump understands. I think he's close to 80 years old. I think his teeth are sliding off his face. I think he looks disheveled every time you see him. I think he thinks like it's the 1990s still. I seriously think that he didn't understand that he's living in a neoliberal fucking capitalist country that gave over manufacturing long ago to third world countries where it was cheaper to produce goods and there were less environmental standards and certainly less or no labor standards. And American companies were seeing massive sell-offs. Trillions of dollars have been lost to investors because of this. Because of a decision that somebody makes that doesn't know any shit about the economy. Donald Trump, how would Donald Trump know how the economy really works for anyone but for average people? He only gets it from guys who went to Harvard, guys who went to Yale, guys who are conservative economists, guys that are greedy capitalist shitheads, who honestly, I think they all thought, and this little stock market dip made a lot of people of money. This little rally that's hitting today, this huge rally that's hitting today, it's making a lot of people a lot of money. And even Donald Trump said that. He said years ago, not recently, but years ago, he said, you can't, if the stock market doesn't go down, you can't make any money. It has to go down. Now, I don't think he had some master plan to have the stock market go down for 4 or 5 days in a row, but he did. But he is part of the investor class, and that's how they think. The problem is they don't understand the economy that they're living in. They don't understand that this is the neoliberalism economy. This isn't manufacturing anymore. You're not getting those jobs back. You could have done, like I said, and many other economists, you could have done this in the 1990s. mid 1990s, and maybe you have a chance. Now you have no chance. And so all you're doing is hurting the investors who love you because of your tax breaks. It didn't work. The China one is not going to work. They don't need America like they used to. It's a unipolar world. The American business community, American corporations and American politicians gave the future away to China when they deregulated all of their relationships with them and basically told American companies that you have carte blanche. Feel free to move over there and do as much as you want overseas into other countries. Exploit all the cheap labor, exploit all the natural resources, exploit all the labor laws, environmental laws. Go for it. And we don't worry about tariffs in this country. Just bring your crap back here and sell it to the people that used to make it. And it wouldn't work. And I think Trump is so analytic. He's so stats oriented. He's always talking about ratings. He's always talking about being the best ever. He's always talking about it's the greatest. It's this, it's that. He likes to measure things on just arbitrarily, sometimes just arbitrarily, he'll just fucking say something is good or bad without having any, like, what are you talking about? But what he's doing with this is he can see the stock market is taking a bath. And investors on television, Fox News particularly, not thrilled with him. I believe Maria Bartiromo is one of them, and a couple of other of his trusted Fox morons have kind of said, look, this is not good for the economy. Tariffs are not good. I think Lawrence Kudlow even said it. Like, this is not great for the economy. This is not, this is a tax, It's going to kill development. It's going to kill the economy. It's going to kill investment. And it did. And it lasted for not even a week. That's amazing to me. These kind of decisions that he makes are so capricious, are so in the middle of the night. We're going to do tariffs and it's going to be great. And then he checks the analytics and he's like, because his brain is so rattled, it's so addled with age and attrition and whatever else, that he has no fucking idea that he's like, oh my God, the stock market is going down. I can't even stick with my own plan. I have to get rid of these things for 90 days. I'll say 90 days, we'll go and we'll renegotiate, and I'll pretend like I'm renegotiating and making all these great deals with these countries, and I can pretend like it was a big win because I can lie to the American people as much as I want because nobody holds me accountable, and the people that do, I don't listen to anyway. So I can continue my steady stream of fake news, and I can say, the tariffs work brilliantly. Has Donald Trump ever said one thing that he could have done better? Has he ever showed any humility at all? No. And he won't about this. And now he's going to spend 90 days pretending he's playing deal maker. He's always pretended and played deal maker. He has nothing to offer the world other than his money and his last name. Nothing. He's not a good negotiator. He didn't make great business deals. He's bankrupted like 40 businesses, not officially, but he's gone through like 40 businesses that he's owned that are now defunct. I mean, he's declared Chapter 11 4 times, I believe. He's not a good businessman. He's a terrible businessman who cheats on his taxes. And he's always been that way. He's one of the least patriotic. His patriotism is about money and how much money he can make inside the United States. And if he has to hug a flag or carry a Bible around or do whatever, that's what he does. And now you see it. You see his brutal incompetence. You see his bad decision making. You see the people around him when they're bad decision making. I mean, the stock market is rallying today and he'll take credit for the rally because he thinks he's a deal maker. In fact, he cost the average investor, the whole stock market, trillions of dollars because he made a bad decision and it lasted for 6 days? Like, this is one of the dumbest, I've never seen, and he reversed it. He couldn't even stay with it for a couple of months. He couldn't even see because he couldn't handle seeing the stock market go down one more time. Elon Musk's stock is rallying today. Or Tesla stock is rallying today because of the tariffs, because Elon Musk gets a lot of shit from other countries. Buys a lot of crap, and he's not happy with it either. All these car companies, they're not happy. Canada's not happy. And China, he's leaving the tariffs on China because he thinks that he's going to beat China in an economic war. He just folded. If anything, and I'm just going to say this is a huge loss for Donald Trump. This is a revolutionary, I don't mean that in the taking over the country, but this is a catastrophe of stupidity and cowardice to not even stick with it, to not even have the courage of your convictions and say, because he said last week, the stock market's going to go down while he was golfing. The stock market's going to go down. You know, just you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to it's going to be tough for a while, but then it'll get better. He didn't even let it get through the tough period. That's how much of a coward he is. That's how dumb he is. And that's what a child he is. That was the stupidest. This man isn't Joe Biden. Joe Biden, if this was Joe Biden, you'd think somebody else made the decision for him. Donald Trump is making his own decisions. He thinks tariffs were going to destroy China. And he's incredibly wrong because he doesn't know what year it is. What? My favorite line that I say to people when they start talking about antiquated shit from the history of past, or they'll talk about, whatever, and I'll say, what year is it? What the fuck year? You're talking about communism? What year is it? Like, and that's what Donald Trump, he lives perpetually, I think, he's living in the 90s still. He still fancies himself a TV star. He still fancies himself that sort of, he looks in the mirror and he sees something that isn't there. That isn't true, because he's self-delusional. He's a narcissist. And he fucked the economy up for 5-6 days, and now he reversed everything except for China. And the stock market blew up. Of course it did. So Donald Trump gets a huge L today of his own doing. Like, if you're MAGA, how do you take this man seriously anymore? Like, after this, how do you seriously go, well, he still knows what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't understand the economic situation that he is in. He does not get that he cannot do the things he wants to do because it is not 1994 anymore. The times, they have changed. They aren't a-changing. They have already changed. And he is way behind the fucking times. And he thought this was going to be some giveaway to the manufacturing in this country. You know what would have been a giveaway to the manufacturing in this country? If you would have flooded these states with hundreds of billions of dollars of federal money to rebuild their infrastructure so they could start to manufacture again, and give it 6 months to a year to 2 years. And you would have had a massive boom in the economy, massive building boom, had a hiring boom, you would have high wages, and it would have been great, and Donald Trump would have been a hero. Every time Donald Trump does something that could make him potentially a hero, he doesn't do it. He always sides with billionaires. He always sides with the rich, and because that's what he is. And he thought somehow that he was going to shift the tax burden. He couldn't, and it was the plan to shift the tax burden to us and away from his rich friends, where it was was part of his plan. And it didn't work because the stock market started to tank, and billionaires were starting to lose massive amounts of money. And they not lose, but their market capitalizations were going down. Their ability to raise cash. They were facing margin calls. They were facing, people were short stock. They were shorting stocks. They were doing all kinds of shit. I mean, that's what hedge funds do. But this was a catastrophe, and this is a loss by Donald Trump. This is an L. And if MAGA spins it any other way, they will, because MAGA is pathetic. Let's be honest. There's no more of a more dishonest group of people intellectually or emotionally immature than MAGA. And MAGA will spin this as if it was a win. MAGA will spin this like, oh, he saw the problems I was going to cause and he reversed course. No, he's a moron. He's an idiot. He made a bad decision. He made a capricious decision thinking it was going to work. He threw it out there. It spectacularly backfired on him. And now he's he's putting his tail between his legs, and he's 90-day break except for China. Everybody gets 90 days except for China because he's the great deal maker. He's a shit deal maker. He's never made a deal in his life that, other than that, if he didn't have his name and a massive fortune behind him, he has leverage. He talks about it in his book. Use leverage. Use, all that Sun Tzu bullshit, right? That you've already known for fucking 1,000 years, whatever it was, when Art of War was written. Anyway, Donald Trump takes an L today, and he did it to himself. He didn't even give the tariffs time to level the markets out and go, nope. He gave it a 90-day break, and now he's going to go be the big negotiator and go make deals and take photos and pretend like he didn't do all of this himself. Thank you for listening.